Hey guys, welcome into today's video. This is going to be a brand new series on my channel. It's going to be a foundation a day for 42 days. The reason that I wanted to start this video is that I have 51 foundations in my permanent collection. It's the number 2 item, maybe number 1 right now, of makeup that I really like testing. I'm really into testing new foundations. It switches back and forth usually between blush, eyeshadow, and foundation, my 3 favorite makeup categories, probably a lot of people's favorite makeup categories. But 51 foundations is just too much for me to have in my collection. I recently did a makeup declutter, and I will link that up in the cards, where I went through my whole collection and I decluttered, breaking some of my makeup into 3 different categories: keep, declutter, and then I made up a third, which was items that I want to keep for reference, but I'm going to take out of my permanent collection and move into the closet where I keep makeup that I think is popular, relevant, things that I may want to reference in future videos, but that I don't want to use in my personal everyday life. But I did not do that with foundation. And recently I've gone through a really big skin change in the last 8 months to a year. I have gone from really, really dry skin to very, very oily skin, and a lot of foundations that used to work for me that were more on the dewy, natural finish side just aren't working these days. So I'm grabbing and loving more matte foundations. So some of my foundations in my collection predate my skin change. So the reason for this series, I don't want to just declutter foundations based on memory. I want to retest a lot of them because some of them are pretty expensive. Some of them I may re-love, some of them I may not like or may not work for me now, and it's time to make that determination. So while I have 51 foundations in my collection, this is foundation a day for 42 days because there are 9 foundations I have already made a decision on. Some of them I'm actually testing. They haven't gone into speed reviews, but I've worn them very recently, so I know exactly how I feel about them, but I will have to move them into wherever they're gonna go, keep, declutter, or in the reference pile. And then there are some that I'm testing that I already absolutely love, haven't gone into a speed reviews, and I know that I'm going to be keeping them. And then 2 of them I have already made the decision that I'm going to declutter. Welcome into this very rainy day, you guys. It is 10 o'clock in the morning, but it looks like it's about 6 o'clock at night. So I am working with a new mic, and it's sitting right in front of me. I'm trying to test this out, even though this mic I've had for a little while, but I didn't initially love the sound quality, but I feel like I might have had it too close. We're gonna see if I end up scrapping this whole video. But if I don't, you guys, welcome to day 38. I really am excited. On today's agenda is the reformulated version of the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. I purchased this when it first launched to test it and compare it against the old formula, which is currently in my project pan, but I haven't used this, I think, since I did a speed reviews on it, and I call that initially testing it. So let's hop right into talking about it, and then I'll tell you what I remember about it. This foundation comes in 43 shades, which is really good, especially for what is considered kind of a higher end or luxury brand. However, the number of deep shades is very limited. In addition, it doesn't seem to go extremely dark. I have mine in the shade 1.5N. This does retail for $43, which I feel like for high-end or luxury, it's a pretty decent price for Dior especially. This is described as hydrating, buildable coverage that resists heat and humidity and leaves a luminous finish. It does have squalene and hyaluronic acid. It is made up of 94% natural ingredients. It's made in France, has a 1.7 fluid ounces, and has a 12-month shelf life. Now, the old version used to be my holy grail. The heat and humidity resistant feature about it was very, very nice. It was like this extremely lightweight formula that gave you immediate medium coverage that was buildable to full if you wanted. It gave almost a satin matte finish to it, but looked super natural on the skin. It had decent longevity. It played well with every single powder product that I put on top of it. It was a quintessentially luxury foundation that performed beautifully. And it was really sad to see the fact that they reformulated this, but the reason that they did was they wanted to, and the reason that they reformulated was because they wanted to include more natural origin ingredients, and now it comes with 94%. I don't know what the percentage was of the old version. I can tell you the difference between the two is this is not as long lasting. It doesn't seem to smooth out the skin quite as much. I didn't personally have an adverse reaction to wearing it, where some people I find they can break out, they can have skin sensitivity to some of the natural ingredients that are included. I didn't have any of that. It just didn't seem to perform in terms of longevity or make my skin look quite as refined. So anyway, we're gonna test it again. I wanna see the longevity of this. It's not something that I even reference, but this might be something that I hold on to for reference even if I end up decluttering it. That's likely the route that I will take with this. But because I have the old version, and there's still quite a bit left, since 1.7 fluid ounces is I think the largest foundation that I have in my collection. I wouldn't need to hold on to this version. I could easily just use up the rest of the one that I have and be completely satisfied. I'm just gonna go in with a brush today because this is a very, very thin formula, and I think it works very well with both a brush and a sponge. It's perfectly medium coverage right away. It's so lightweight. It just feels so good on the skin. It feels hydrating. It goes on like butter. It's super simple and easy to blend in. Everything about this kind of checks all the boxes in terms of what I'm looking for. It's just that the longevity disappeared, and I just don't feel like it continued to smooth out my skin quite as much. In essence, it just didn't feel like it sank into the skin quite as beautifully as the original formulation. So if I don't end up falling in love with this and I end up getting kind of the same effect as what I remember about getting it kind of on my initial testing of this, we probably won't keep it, but we shall see during this wear test. Let's go into the right side. I can definitely detect a very slight fragrance. Not too much, not perfumey, just a very slight fragrance that's slightly sweet, but it's not overpowering. And for what I consider a luxury brand, this one has the slightest scent of probably any of the other considered luxury brand foundations that I have in my collection. So overall, I'm just a big fan of Dior base products. I have been for a while. So I would love to love this. Anyway, you guys, if this is your first time watching one of these videos, what I do in these wear tests is I go and I finish the rest of my makeup. We do one final check-in and we see how everything is sitting on top of it, blushes and powders and concealers, and how it's kind of looking on the skin. Then I go about my day. I do natural light check-ins for you right after application. I do it again at 4 hours, and then we come back and we sit down at the very end of the night and we look how the foundation is holding up and we watch the footage of my check-ins. And then at that point, we decide whether or not the foundation is worth keeping in my collection. And as you know, 42 foundations was the goal, and we are on day 38. We are well on our way to getting this completed, and I was trying to cut my foundation collection in half. So that's the ultimate goal, is to make a decision at the end of the night. Let me go finish the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. We are back, you guys. And I feel like the finish is very beautiful on it. Again, just not like overly smoothing the way that the original formula is. I'm mostly interested in seeing the longevity of this as it compares to the original formula, or just the wear of it in general. My predictions is that it's not going to last an extremely long time, but we shall see. So let me go and do my first check-in for you guys on the phone, and then I will see you guys back here at the very end of the evening. Bye for now. Welcome back, you guys. It is just after 9 o'clock. It is 9:10. So I've had this on for just over 10 hours. I'm gonna jump right into showing you guys what it looked like in natural light. This one in the foundation that I wore yesterday, I feel like just adds so much texture to my face. It didn't smooth anything out. There are definitely foundations that make me look younger, and there are foundations that just emphasize all the texture and just tend to make me look a lot older. I just don't like this reformulated version as much as the original. Something about the natural ingredients kind of makes me feel like it sits on the skin instead of absorbs into the skin, which the other foundation does really, really well. My initial wear test and overall review and testing of this foundation, initially, it has not changed. The camera's height was driving me crazy, so I had to just go readjust the height. The overall wear of it wasn't terrible. I think, like, in terms of longevity, it had a decent longevity. Even now, I don't feel like I got super dewy. I think it was just mostly a texture thing. There's just some formulas that seem to, one, either smooth out my skin, or two, sink into the skin in such a way that they look very natural. I don't feel like this did that. And that's exactly what I feel like the other formulation did. I am not somebody who needs to have 100% natural ingredients or as much natural ingredients in a product as you can get. I know there's some of you out there that probably have that preference. I don't think performance-wise I've necessarily found a benefit in products like that, and I tend to like products that are a little bit longer lasting. But that's a debate for an entirely different day, different video, different person. So for the sake of today's video, I am going to declutter this one. I'm going to keep it in reference for at least a little while to see if it becomes relevant in any way on my channel. It probably won't, but just in case it might, I'm going to hold on to it in the reference library. But there's several foundations in these wear tests that are going into reference, and I haven't always mentioned that, but this one is going to be decluttered from my permanent collection, so that makes the new total declutter 21, and I have kept 16. So I'm way in the lead. Even if I keep the last 4 foundations that I have to test, I will still have decluttered more than I have kept, so I feel really good about it, you guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it helpful. I'm out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next one. Bye, guys.